surprising to start with from both players.
And basics are down, fist bumps are ready, and our finals begin now.
Kicking things off with Jose going first. Has that hops bag straight away to begin with. So we've seen the deck a couple of times before, but it was worth explaining again. Mike, how does this hops Trevenant deck operate?
Well, using that Hops Phantom, you apply early pressure with Splashing Dodge, and with all the damage modifiers in the deck, you can reach some quite high numbers, but it is that Hops Trevenant that does the big hits. With a Horrifying Revenge, you can hit for 30, plus 100 if one of your Pokemon's knocked out during your last turn, and that doesn't sound like a lot of damage for one colorless energy, but with the Stadium, the tool, and a Snorlax on the bench, you can hit for a whopping 220 damage, which is a lot of damage and all sorts of math in between, and it really being a psychic type Pokemon into Dragapult with Lily's Clefairy, able to take those big one-hit knockouts. Now, there is one thing that's really important for this very matchup, and it's that Shaman on the bench. Brennan mentioned to us before the final, he said this is going to be a battle of whether Jose can find Shaman or not, and if he finds it, it's going to be very difficult.
And it's bad news for Brennan. Jose's just had it turn one, just straight up open with it, has it down the bench. Brennan is not going to be happy to see that, but he can't give up straight away, so he's going to start things off with this first deck search of an Ultra Ball.
Starting the Latias EX, a strong part of the deck, allowing you to pivot into that Mega Kangaskhan EX, which is a draw engine in many matchups, but might actually become an attacker in this matchup because it is quite big, has a lot of HP, can survive a few of those hits from the Hops Pokemon, and something to consider here as we see the deck search from Brennan looking through, finding which Pokemon might be prized.
Going forward and look through, we did of course have a look at the prize cards, and there were no major, other than the secret box, there's no attacking Pokemon or anything like that in the prize cards. Just the one Slowking in there, which is going to be more than fine to work with, but all the other Pokemon are there ready to access.
What do you do in this matchup without access to Trifrost? The Shaman, a huge component. Brennan was playing the Spectra before this tournament and decided to take it out for a second Latias EX, which was an answer to be able to take out the Shaman on the bench, but doesn't have access to that here. So no boss's orders, cannot get the Shaman up, will just rely on knocking out the active over and over again.
I mean, it's a call, right? Because at the same time, if you're expecting there to be enough Shaman in the field that you would need to play something like the Spectra, it's probably not a good idea to play Slowking in the first place. This is something that a lot of people who were thinking about Slowking recognized, and it's why they made it even as a call for this tournament. So, I mean, and it's taken Brennan all the way to the finals. It's just that here, against this Hops Trevenant deck with the Shaman, Brennan is going to have to pull all the tricks out of his bag if he wants to pull off a miracle force of a turn and try to make a comeback here and take it down his finals.
Jose has only sustained one loss in the tournament. Brennan has been unbeaten. And that just shows you the power of Slowking, but very much not the deck he was preparing for. Hops Trevenant, not even featuring in our top 12 most popular decks. Very off meta here. Designed to take down Dragapult, but struggles into certain other decks in the field. And that Shaman inclusion is there for these kind of matchups, the ones where Trifrost from Kyurem can completely dismantle your board, or a Wellspring Ogerpon and other similar attackers. So very much Jose picking a deck for the field. Same thing here with Brennan, anti-meta, yeah. Slowking very good into our most popular decks here, and has found that to be the most successful tournament for himself. But now facing off a deck that is a tough matchup.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. If I was a Kyurem and I was in Brennan's deck, I'd be holding a bit of a petty grudge against that Shaman, I'm fairly sure.
100%. As we see a common card between these two decks, and it is that Telepathic Psychic Energy, which has allowed both of them to set up consistently throughout the tournament. One of the most powerful cards in our format right now, as it's a Psychic Energy when attached to a Psychic Pokemon, and also allows you to search your deck for 2 Psychic Pokemon too. For Brennan, that is the Latias EX as well as the Lily's Clefairy, but quite frequently it's to find Slowpokes and Smoochums to set things up.
Yeah, the Smoochum especially, you know, we've seen it used in so many games that Brennan has had on stream. Just the fact that it is at a 0 attack cost attack that lets you set up one of your Slowpoke very nicely to be able to attack later. So especially if you get that Telepathic Psychic Energy to search it and then just go into it, obviously with the free retreat with, it's almost like a 1-card setup in that Telepathic Energy, because you get the Smoochum and the Latias from the Telepathic Psychic Energy, and then you just go ahead and attack.
Brennan announcing Delightful Kiss, and will be attaching 2 Psychic Energy to the bench Pokemon. Now the question is here, will he attach it to the Slowpoke, or is he going to look to attach it to the Kangaskhan? It will be to the Slowpoke. There was definitely an interesting line with this matchup that would be different to what you'd expect. Maybe that Psychic Energy in the prize cards, as well as, I think, one in hand, denying the full 2 Psychic Energy to be attached. So just the one there.
Not exactly making it rain with the amount of energy on board, at least not to the extent that he would like to, certainly in terms of the choices of what those energies are going on. But all the same, I mean, Brennan's back is against the wall regardless, so it's just really a matter of trying to find whatever attacks you can. Mega Kangaskhan might come in later, but maybe he's thinking to lead with, maybe I just want to attack with the Slow King and just with the Metagross, and then just deal with the Shaman and find an opening for that Triforce later.
Just the Team Rocket's Petrol here. Search your deck for any trainer card you like, and we'll be searching for the Lily's Determination, which is typically the sign of a slower start, because that supporter, to find a supporter, is planning ahead for the next turn. And if there's no access to an energy or that Hops choice band, there won't be an attack this turn. So there might be a little bit of time here for Brennan to deal with this. What's in the rest of that hand? Don't think there's an energy, and that is just going to be a pass.
Goodness, just a quick search of that deck with the Petrol for the Lily's Determination and nothing else after that. Yeah, that is a absolutely horrendous start to proceedings over here. Meanwhile, here comes the Dawn from Brennan's side. That one-of Dawn in the deck that does allow you to grab a basic stage 1 and a stage 2. Could this maybe be the opening that Brennan was gunning for? You mentioned that maybe he really needed Jose to have a weak start or a brick to really capitalize on it. Maybe this is the chance.
Yeah, we'll be able to get an early knockout here, which would be ideal if you were able to do a Trifrost with no Shaman in play. But with that Shaman, it will just be a 1 prize Pokemon in the active as the knockout. So a little bit of a chance here for Brennan to go ahead. Question is, how long can he stay ahead, as Jose very much has the aggression to take big knockouts on following turns.
Yeah, especially as soon as Brennan takes that first knockout on a Hops Pokemon, the Trevenant is going to come in with that extra damage, of course, so he has to be really mindful of that. And Jose hasn't even been able to get like a Hops Choice Band or an energy to power up the attack cost for the Splashing Dodge that way, so he's really left with not much of anything right now.
And what we thought might happen here is that Mega Kangaskhan has had an energy committed. We have not seen Brennan up to this point use Mega Kangaskhan as an attacker. That just shows you how unique the situation is for him, but we have seen this plenty of times. A Seek Inspiration for a Metagross, and we'll Metal Hammer the Hops Phantump in the active. And there we go off the top, Hops Trevenant seen. And now it will be on Jose to try and set up the return knockout.
That will have to do for now. Now, granted, with that knockout done, like we just mentioned, it does mean that the attack of the Trevenant is live to do more damage, but needs to find at least an energy or Hops Choice Band off of this Lily's Determination to be able to do it.
And you can see here that Mega Kangaskhan EX with the Psychic Energy attached is a great target for energy from the Smoochum, but not a great target for Wondrous Patch, so will take manual attachments only. Meanwhile, the Slowking as an attacker can be charged up in 1 turn thanks to that Wondrous Patch. So stuff to think about for Jose is complete deck knowledge is available here for both players. They're aware of what the opponent's deck 60 is. And so Jose will be looking at what the best approach is, what the best knockout is. Is there an energy? Oh, there is that Hops Choice Band, which is enough.
There's both. There's a Telepathic Psychic Energy and the Hops Choice Band. So I think you're just deciding what the best one to commit here is, because if you have the Hops Choice Band, you could maybe consider putting that Telepathic Psychic Energy on one of these bench Pokemon instead, so that you can power up something with that.
Yeah, just going to be attaching that here. Has the Hops Choice Band for one of the bench Pokemon, I should imagine. Just trying to establish as much stability. There's no draw on board for this Hops Trevenant deck, so does have to set up as well as possible in preparation for potential disruption, but he knows Brennan has no disruption. It's more if he can't find the cards he needs in future turns, he wants to be as set up as possible here.
The Mega Kangaskhan comes up to very tantalizing there with that one energy saying, you know, 2 more energy and I'm going to come and get you with my rapid fire combo. And it's a very big amount of HP to deal with as well, which is the main reason why Brennan is considering pivoting to this in the first place.
Can't even use Pheasantipity here with the Shaman as a backup attacker. If you could take stuff out on the bench, you'd be quite happy to use Trifrost in this occasion. So as far as backup attackers go, you've got Lily's Clefairy in this Mega Kangaskhan. The advantage of the latter there is the 300 HP can survive one-hit knockout potential of this Hops deck, but you can just see how scary it is to be staring down Hops Trevenant, Hops Cramorant that can start attacking after this knockout, and so much more. It's going to be a huge uphill climb now for Brennan to try and get ahead.
You know, Hops Cramorant is a wild one because this is a card that we've not seen since it got played as a tech attacker in Golden Go, of course. Can only attack if your opponent has exactly 3 or 4 prize cards left, but when you do have that condition met, it does 120 damage for only 1 colorless energy, which can be fulfilled with a Hops Choice Band, and then with the other damage modifiers, you are doing an insane amount of damage on a single prizer.
You're just trying to piece together an attack here. We'll potentially be looking to set up another Slowking, or just going to attach to the Mega Kangaskhan itself. Ooh, just tricky at this stage because so much of this deck is about setting up for big knockouts. Metagross taking out big 2 and 3 prize Pokemon. The Kyurem with the Trifrost able to take out multiple low HP Pokemon. But while Shaman on the bench, that is not a viable option. So just a retreat here from Brennan. A smart decision here, knowing that without taking a knockout, the Hops Trevenant's damage output is lower, and that Hops Cramorant cannot attack at this stage.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, for a second there, Brennan was gesturing almost as if he was about to concede the game, but no, just retreating into that Shaman instead, and then passing it over. Yeah, like you said, very wisely doing so, acknowledging that it will be able to reduce the amount of damage output that Jose can put out. Even with second attack corner, you're now limited to 180. That's not going to be enough to knock out a Festivity EX.
I mean, something interesting to think about here is Jose can actually retreat lock Pokemon. Something we don't often see with this Trevenant, but the second attack is corner. And during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. For 90 damage, it's a Psychic Colorless, which with the Hops Choice Band and an energy commitment will allow him to retreat lock this Pheasantipity in the active. And that might come back to bite Brennan, who shoved it earlier, thinking this can sponge a hit and I'll just get out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I guess it doesn't matter as much if you can't get the KO with the corner. I mean, if it retreat locks the Pheasantipity, it's the one switch is not prized, I don't believe. So in theory, if he has a way to access it, he could use that to get out of the retreat lock. But it's still rough going no matter what. Yeah, it's not in the hand, is it?
Or the Surfer.
Well, the Surfer, that would work as well, absolutely. But
they're not there.
Neither is there. Neither of the switch outs available. And I think I can even see a couple of them just looking through the deck now.
So we'll get that Metagross off the Poképad. The chief attacker for Slowking now added in Chaos Rising. The reason why Brennan backed the deck coming to this event was the addition of such a powerful card for Slowking to copy. But on this occasion, it will just be in the hand waiting for its use in the future. Pheasantipity is retreat locked right now. Corner from Hops Trevenant, stopping it from moving out the active. And let's see, does Brennan have either the Surfer or the Switch in hand? It doesn't look like it at this stage. Just looking to thin in preparation for next turn, perhaps.
So crazy to see this. Normally we see it on that clutch from the Yveltal, or even like from the retreat locking attack from the Maractus, of course, but no, corner for doing 90 damage, and it's on this Hops Trevenant, and it's really, really a thorn in Brennan's side right now. I
mean, not only did it do 90 damage, but it had the 3 modifiers to do the full 180, the max damage output from that corner. So the Pheasantipity in range of a 2-hit knockout at this stage. And so we'll just be there. Yeah. Pheasantipity X goes down, and Jose has 3 prize cards remaining in game 1 of the final.
Just either corner or Horrifying Revenge again would do the trick. It takes a couple of missed energy from the prizes as well. That'd be nice for some extra attachments and protection. Not that I think it protects anything from anything necessarily in Brennan's deck, but just also more energy is always a nice thing to have. Finds the lucky helmet to attach to the Mega Kangaskhan, and we do see a Cypher Maniac's code breaking. So I think we're going to start to see some rapid-fire combo action.
Wow, what an interesting situation. We've not seen Mega Kangaskhan attack once, or even get an energy committed to it, I don't think, with Brennan across the tournament. We've featured him multiple times, and it's all been about that Slowking, but in this case, it's just not quite doing enough with the Metagross attack or with that Kyurem. So Mega Kangaskhan's advantage is it can sponge a few hits with that high 300 HP. But then we look at that bench, that Hops Cramorant, where we remember it in Golden Go of the past formats. It only did 120 damage back then, but in this deck, it's able to reach higher numbers.
It really, really is. Just letting the moment sit a little bit. Rapid fire combo. It will be able to get the knockout without any coin flips done. But now it's going to be up to Jose to find a response here. Yeah, the Hops KAMERMAN is going to do a big amount of damage. But it's not going to quite be enough, even with all the damage modifiers. Not on the Mega Kangaskhan at least, but Boss's orders can come in.
That is exactly enough to take a knockout on a Latias. 210 damage with all the modifiers available. That is a straight knockout on Latias EX. Jose, one prize card remaining. What can you do here, Brennan?
So you have to send up this Mega Kangaskhan and maybe hope it sticks, but like we've talked about so many times before, Brennan is not playing any hand disruption, so if Jose just has the means of taking this last prize card, he's as good as done.
Whether it's a Boss's orders or that Hops dub wall, both of them great ways to gust the bench, available to Jose next turn. And he just took the secret box off the prize card, so anything he could ever imagine or want will be in that hand. For now, Brennan doesn't know that. He's just got to hope that taking this knockout is enough to survive another turn. Otherwise, Jose will be taking our first game of the final here after a strong start.
And this is kind of low-key the result we were expecting. I mean, Brennan, again, he was saying going into this final, this was the one deck that he really did not want to see. He felt so confident against basically anything else in the format, but just does not really have a great answer into this Hops Trevenant deck.
He said specifically, the Shaman goes down, I don't think I can win, is
Yes.
what he said to us.
Verbatim.
And I think that is being seen exactly why that could be the case right here. As every turn that goes by, Jose sets up with the Shaman protecting from those big spike turns that Slowking's able to pull off. You know, at this point, we do have a best of 3 here in the final, so there is future turns available. Brennan right now looking to stabilize around this turn, take a knockout with the Mega Kangaskhan, hope that there's no gust available on Jose's side, and he will be able to survive a little longer as Mega Kangaskhan can sponge a hit from any of Jose's attackers.
That is determination. 6 cards drawn. Really just banking on any kind of option he can find. Just going to go for the attack. He recognizes nothing else he can do. Jose brings up the Hops Trevenant. Does he have the gusting in hand? There's the Hops double. We are going to a game 2, and Jose will take down game 1.
Hops Trevenant is currently 1 game away from winning here in Turin. And Jose dreamed of this moment, didn't think it was possible coming to Turin. He thought, you know what, I could make my first top cut. I could win the whole thing. I could go to Worlds. Well, you're in a great position for your Worlds invite, but can you become a name etched in history as Turin champion, 1 game away from doing just that?
And did you hear that roaring scream from the crowd? I think there's a lot of fans of Jose out in the crowd, a lot of fans of Brennan as well, but I think this is going to be a very, very popular win, no matter which way you look at it, but Jose has a lot of love out in the crowd today.
You saw all of these knockouts throughout. The corner was so genius on Pheasantipity EX there. I don't think Brennan was expecting that. He thought, you know what, I can put this Pheasantipity EX in the active and it won't be a liability. I'll just retreat it next. Oh, no, I can't retreat that, huh? As the Latias EX went down to the perfect 210. And the Mega Kangaskhan at the end was merely a blockade in the active spot as Dubwall took it to the bench as a 1 prize knockout was enough for Jose, and Brennan will now be hoping that Shaman stays well and truly in the deck or the prizes, as soon as that hit the board, it became very, very difficult.
And let's not forget, of course, this is the finals. There are no ties. Brennan might be thinking if this was Swiss rounds, maybe I could run away with a draw in this one, but that is not the case here. We are in the finals. It is make or break time. One of these 2 players needs to win the title of Turin Special Champion, and that is really, and Jose's only 1 game away from doing it.
So Brennan has faced 2 Shamans in the tournament throughout. One of them, he came away with it thinking, how on earth did I win that? But was able to do just that. The other, it was prized in 2 of the 3 games. So it is possible to beat a deck with Shaman in, but it requires a lot of hustle, a little bit of fortune, and maybe a little bit of early Trifrost pressure and hoping that that's enough.
Let's see the start from Jose. Oh, is it another mulligan? Oh, that's not what you want to be seeing in any game, let alone when you're only 1 game away from winning your first special championships title.
We've got to think about the cards that Jose wants to see early on. I mean, access to the Shaman is key. Finding a way to get that out. A poker pad would be a great way to do that. but then there's also getting enough Pokemon that it's worth getting that Shaman down. Because if the Pokepad's your only way to get a Pokemon down, is it even worth getting a Shaman? You need to think about going as wide as possible. So essentially, he wants to find a Shaman in combination with a Hops bag or, you know, the telepathic psychic energy to try and go wide.
Or just like hard drawing the basics, right? That would also
see 'em all.
do the trick. Let's see. Does he find a basic now? Is that going to be mulligan number 3 at this point? Yeah, it is.
Well, not many basics in the deck, you know, relative to a lot of the format, but, you know, this is definitely going to be that kind of nerve-wracking mulligan stage. You know, when we're mulliganing in the Pokemon TCG, you know, every single one of them is giving an extra card to your opponent, and what more nerve-wracking a time than in the final?
Every extra card is an extra resource that your opponent has access to, an extra chance for them to find their way back into what is a very favored matchup for you, an unfavored matchup for them. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Mike, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
I think I am. I think he's found a basic Pokemon.
And it's green.
And it's green. And he has another Pokemon too, so we'll be able to set things up nicely here.
Yeah, and let's look at these prize cards. Oh, the Smoochum being prized for Brennan doesn't feel great. The KAMERMAN prize is not great either, but really relatively inconsequential prizing. Jose starting with that Hops Wooloo. Brennan starting with the Slowpoke, but I see green in the hand. Does it just go down straight away? There it is.
There it is. You see the thumbs up from Brennan saying, well, fair play. That's the one card I didn't want to see at this stage, as we know that this Hops deck is so good once Shaman is down. And, you know, the roar from the crowd was there in favor of Jose. Lots of the community, friends, family supporting Jose right now. The prize cards for Brennan aren't ideal. That Smoochum is definitely an early option. But interestingly here, Brennan has chosen to go second. He did so in game 1 too. He felt like with the Hops deck, there's not a huge amount they can do in their first turn going first. So he wanted to go second to try and set up as good as possible. But you can see how much just that Shaman coming down has forced Brennan into a frustration here.
What do you even do against this, right? I mean, yeah, sure, maybe you can like KO it early and then they can't reestablish it, but there's a fair amount of recovery in the deck, and when it's been found this early on as well, didn't even need to dedicate a resource to finding it, just hard opened with it. Because sometimes you just have to sort of like, you know, shake your head and like throw your hands up in the air and say, well, that's that, but it doesn't mean that you're going to give up.
I mean, I guess at this point there is also the fact there's not much else on the board. So, you know, you could in fact see a knockout on a Hops Pokemon, and that Shaman essentially is an annoying Pokemon to put into the active. So then there would be a chance for Brennan to take it out. So there's lots of things going on right now for Brennan, which he'll be thinking is possible if the right lines come his way. We know Jose's got a few more resources in that hand than just these 2 Pokemon. For Brennan, he definitely will be feeling the hope at this stage that there is a way into this game.
Lily's Determination finds what, under normal circumstances, would be a phenomenal hand. I see a Boomerang Energy, I see Poképad, I see Lily's Clefairy, Brave Brangle, the Academy at Night, Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking. This is basically everything you'd ever want if you went up against the Shaman.
And the top deck is a Poképad, so we'll be able to establish some more Pokemon here and get those attackers going. And for Jose, he knows that Brennan needs to start putting those 2 and 3 prizes out to get set up. It's a lot harder for Brennan to play a 1 prize board state than it is for Jose. So there might be a world where Brennan tries to keep it 1 prize as long as possible. But at this stage, Jose doesn't need to rush, because eventually the Slowking will fizzle out without putting any of those 2 prizes in play.
Yeah, my goodness, look at this already. The Hops Choice Band ready in the hand. The Poképad finds the Hops Phantump. Could even, if he wants to go for here, play a switch just to go into the Hops Phantump, and then you are only 1 more damage modifier away. No, sorry, 2 more damage modifiers away from taking a knockout.
And I guess that's exactly why Brennan attached to the bench one, because he knew how possible it was for an early Hops Phantump attack. You know, we are very much looking at a tough matchup. Brennan has been unbeaten throughout the tournament because he's countered the meta so well. Jose equally has countered the meta so well, but so often in these counter decks, when they play against each other, it can be incredibly unfavored one way, and that Shaman, the singular card that makes this favored for Jose, is currently sitting on the bench.
Pokegear does find the Team Rocket's Petrol. If there's a Poképad in hand to find the Snorlax, the Petrol can grab
I mean, he's thinking about Secret Box here, and there it is, the ace spec of choice off of the petrol. Will be able to get all of those damage modifiers he needs to take this knockout. So we'll be discarding the energy, the switch, the Lily's Determination, finds the air balloon to retreat the active. We'll be able to find that Hops bag. What a powerful card in this deck.
Secret Box enabling all this. Honestly, in the post-rotation format, I think this is one of the decks that maybe uses Secret Box the best. The fact that you can grab all your damage modifiers, but also grab essentially your own turbocharged Buddy Puffin in the form of the Hops bag as well, and then just grabbing the air balloon and the support for next turn as well.
Yeah, searching your deck for any 2 Hops Pokemon and putting them onto your bench. So we'll be able to set up that Snorlax, which adds 30 damage to your Hops Pokemon. The Postwick that adds 30 damage to your Hops Pokemon and already has that Hops Choice Band on the Phantump ready to go. And not only is this all amazing news for Jose, but he'll also get a chance to flip a coin to find out whether that's Hops Phantump is immune from damage next turn. So there's so much right now going Jose's way looking at this Secret Box turn.
Yeah, it's not a spiky hopper, it's Hops Phantump coming in with after this air balloon onto the Wooloo, and then the Postwick coming in as well, retreating to it, and it will be the splashing dodge. Let's see the coin flip.
Is it going to be immune? There it is! Heads on the Phantump. It will be immune from damage. Splashing dodge takes the knockout and protects the Phantump. What can you do here, Brennan?
You have a telepathic psychic energy that can grab you 2 more basics, but this Hops Phantump is now immune from damage. So what are those 2 basics even going to do?
He said it was near impossible if the Shaman came down, but on top of that, everything going Jose's way there. Able to get the knockout, the immunity, everything screaming Jose's favored here. The bench is untouchable, as Kyurem is the only way to affect the bench. The Shaman blocks that. There's no Gust in Brennan's deck. He cannot disrupt the hand of Jose. All of this information Jose knows because he saw the deck list before the very game we're watching. So Brennan right now has to try and create something different, something unique. Last time we saw Mega Kangaskhan, the attempt, and that wasn't enough.
Maybe Pheasantipity will be enough. I mean, Cruel Arrow is a nice attack, but you don't really have a way to power up very quickly, and you can see Brennan shaking his head. He knows. I mean, he almost seems resigned.
I mean, Cruel Arrow is as useless as Trifrost in this situation. That Shaman there blocking everything.
No, but you can hit something in the active, right?
Well, not if they've flipped heads on splashing
no, I'm thinking more for the Trevenant later, but yeah, in this specific situation, absolutely not. But you couldn't power up this turn anyway.
I mean, when I spoke to Brennan before, he said anytime that Jose flips heads on this Hops Phantump, he would like to retreat into his Smoochum so he could Delightful Kiss. But that's in the prize cards. So his one strategy here that he would opt to go for isn't even available. So, yeah, it's very much everything going against Brennan in this moment. In one of the most unfavored matchups his deck can face, he's also getting those unfavorable moments within it.
Yeah. I mean, talk about not Cruel Arrow, but Cruel Irony, right? What an amazing setup here with triple Pokepad to find everything he needs. But everything he needs is right now not very useful to him.
So we'll see what Brennan can pull off here. We've seen this deck work like clockwork throughout the tournament. It's been amazing to watch him piece together the puzzles of how to take a big knockout, whether it was a Trifrost or a Metal Hammer with his Slowking deck. And I'm sure many people watching this very tournament are inspired to take Slowking to their next tournament or to try and counter it with that Shaman that we see on the bench, because it is such a great counter card to this deck. A 1-card inclusion can completely switch the matchup. So Brennan will be feeling the effect of that Shaman now, as many will be inspired by its very presence.
Yeah, and hold on a second. Is that... it looked like for a second that was about to be Cypher Maniac for another Cypher Maniac and a Wondrous patch. But instead, Omega Delana's Aid, no, back to the Cypher Maniacs? Was that the final decision?
I mean, in this situation, Brennan can bump the stadium, and that would make his active Slowpoke or Slowking out of range of the attacks. But yeah, he's very much going to be retreating into that Latias. Oh, into the Fez instead. And maybe this is similar to what we saw in the previous game, but corner will be unavailable. So just hoping that a Tails will come through on the next turn to allow him to swing into that Hops Phantom in the active.
Yeah, no energy acceleration in the Hops deck, so no option to attach to energy to make corner live. So instead is going to get that bench Hops Phantom ready with the mist energy, has the counter stadium, has the boss's orders. It's going to be able to take out the Slowpoke.
And it will be another heads for Jose. That Hops Phantom cannot be touched as we see the knockout, the immunity, the ride to victory as Jose is getting closer and closer to Turin champion.
Splashing Dodge, MVA, most valuable attack here at the Turin Special Championships. That's been a lot of heads that Jose has flipped on that Splashing Dodge.
As we see Brennan try to rebuild around this. What can you do here? You can't touch the bench, you can't gust the bench, you can't touch the active. Everything here is immune. You can draw some cards with that Pheasantipity EX, but I don't think there's a card in your deck you can see right now that's going to change things here. You just got to keep on setting up and hope that eventually that Tails comes through.
And kind of as if things weren't kind of rough enough, didn't even get to make use of that second stack of the previous Cyphermaniac with the Wondrous patch. Just has to play the Cyphermaniac again. Now we'll be able to at least grab a couple of things from this in combination with the flip the script, one of which will be the secret box, plus another random card. So yeah, the secret box, the Academy at Night, and one more. It's a really, really brutal situation, and again, you're not going to give up. You can do everything you can, but it's just going to be a pass.
Needs that Tails to come through. Will be a Lily's determination from Jose. Find those resources to keep on setting up. But, you know, this attack, Splashing Dodge, can completely change the game. We've seen Crushing Hammers throughout the tournament be game-changing coin flips. For this very moment here, Hops Phantom making itself immune whilst taking knockouts. And it has been able to take down Dragapult relentlessly throughout the tournament, and is exactly why Jose is here in the final. And even that hassle, we've seen it come in the huge moments off the unfair stamps many a time after a knockout, finding so many good resources. At this stage, Jose can just continue doing what he's been doing in these first few turns. Tails here, but some damage on the board.
I mean, yeah, obviously it's not ideal flipping Tails there, but at the same time, you had a couple of heads already and you've put the 80 damage on there. I think you're probably feeling pretty okay about that, in all honesty.
So now Brennan will have a chance to take a knockout. Just the one prize Pokemon in the active is available, but maybe hoping that Jose hasn't drawn into too many good cards off the Lily's determination. You know, that's going to be, yeah, it's 70 damage on the active there.
Yeah, so there's 10 and then 2 boosters. So yeah, 70 is right, because each booster adds 30. No retreat lock this time. In comes the Slowking, though. And we do see the Metagross is in the hand already, so finally we'll be able to, yeah, with the Academy of Night on top of the deck, Seek Inspiration, Metallic Hammer will be able to take a KO on this Hops Phantom that has endured so many turns with heads on the Splashing Dodge. But, I mean, Jose has got pretty much all the follow-up answers in his hand.
Seek Inspiration, discarding that Metagross off the top of the deck. You're copying its attack for a one prize knockout. Typically, Metagross taking a huge 2 prize, 3 prize knockouts. On this occasion, Jose with the 1 prize deck here, able to slow things down as Slowking, 5 prize cards left to take. Jose will just continually attempt to break down this deck. As you see, the board is looking so stable behind that Hops Wooloo in the active. It can retreat for free, and a huge variety of attackers available, whether it is another Hops Phantom, it could even try and evolve into a Hops Trevenant and hit for bigger numbers. There's so many options right now for Jose, and all of them feel favored.
Yeah, and getting that Hops Cramorant ready to go as well, just as a backup attacker. But we'll go ahead into the Hops Trevenant. No double in the hand to do Gusting, but it's still more than happy to just go in with the horrifying Revenge and take his 3rd prize card of the game, leaving him only 3 prize cards away from becoming the Turin Special Championships champion.
Now we'll see what is even possible here. Latias EX, both players using that secret box. A lot of similarity between these two decks. You know, that Secret box for consistency, the kind of puzzle piece to take your big knockouts, whether it's the damage modifiers for Jose or the combination of Academy at Night and your chosen attacker, both using that telepathic psych energy to help set up, both taking down Dragapult, but against each other. It feels so much more in Jose's court as to what is possible. You can do everything you do to every other deck and more against Brennan, where Brennan unable to do what he does best and snipe the bench. As we see the secret box finding all those key pieces for success.
I mean, it's a bad feeling when you can just tell from the gesture, it's almost like the least enthusiastic secret box you've ever seen, right? Running down the cards as if he almost like feels resigned to what's happened, but he knows that although his back is against the wall, he has not lost this game yet. He has 5 more prize cards to take to try and take this thing to a game 3, and he's going to do his absolute best to get there. The Lana's aid is going to be a big part of that. Able to set up another Slowpoke onto the bench, just grab back that Metagross as well, so he's able to attack with the Slowking by putting that on top of the deck. Has the backup Slowpoke ready to go with the energy as well, the Lucky Helmet on the Slowking as well. So even though, against all odds, Brennan is doing everything he can to give himself a chance to come back.
All he can do is just keep taking knockouts and hope eventually Jose misses the pieces to do so. But with a hassle in that hand, Jose can find exactly what he needs. And you'll see it come down right here. Look at the top 8 cards of your deck and take any 3 cards you want. One of the most powerful supporters in these one prize decks, as it allows you to find all those missing pieces. One that we don't commonly see, but you can see exactly why it's the key card right now. A hassle for next turn, why not?
Yeah, hassle for next turn. Could even consider the, I would say either the boss's orders or even the Poképad, which was grabbed, that can go ahead and become a Hop's double to do the gusting that way. That would also be very, very effective. And yeah, looks like that's the grab. It's the Postwick, it's the hassle, and it's the Poképad. I like the choices.
3 prize cards remain for Jose. Brennan has not put that Mega Kangaskhan in play, so a combination of a 1 and a 2 prize Pokemon will be enough for Jose. Meanwhile, Brennan has to take 4 continuous knockouts, which is not ideal when you know how quick the route to victory is opposite you. He'll need to take knockouts that take the sting out of Jose's journey here, but with that Hops Cramorant in the active and the Hops Trevenant on the bench, ready to go, Jose will be confident. He's staring down the victory in front of him.
The Hops Cramorant is now live. Brennan has taken 2 prize cards, so is on either 4 or 3 left, having had 4 left. So the Hops Cramorant is going to come in with that fickle spitting, going to take a knockout on the Slowking. The Latias comes up, and it's going to be for the script. It's going to, oh, okay, I thought he was going to pick up his cards there for a second, but I think he just recognizes where the game is currently, but going to play it out to the end like an absolute trooper. Wondrous Patch comes in, going to be able to power up that Slowking. Does still have access to flip the script.
So all you can do, keep taking those knockouts. At this stage, another 3 cards. Pheasantdifty has been very useful to build up that hand size, but without any disruption, Jose has also been doing the same, that hassle, building up resources to end the game. He could quite literally have game in hand right now, Jose, and Brennan can do nothing about it. As we see this final little deck search, nothing of interest. And this is going to be one last attempt to take a knockout and hope that Jose runs out of steam.
Has to dodge Hop Stub Wall or Boss's Orders. Even one of those cards would win Jose the game, and therefore the match, and therefore the title of Turin champion. What can you do, Brennan, to stop Jose from taking this one down?
Brennan has been undefeated in this whole tournament. Was 11-0 in the Swiss with Slowking, taking down, I think in the end, about 10 Dragapults. Was showing exactly what's possible when you recognize the strength of the meta and what you need to beat. But the same was true for Jose, who's countered an equal amount of Dragapults here and has found himself in the final with 1 knockout to take to win the game. Brennan goes down to 3 prize cards left. Can you get it here, Jose?
He doesn't quite have it yet. Once he draws a turn, it's the Hops Trevenant.
Needs to find a gust here, does have a Poké Gear. A Boss's Orders would win the game. Does he have it?
3, 4, 5.
Is
6?
it there? And
one more?
A way to get a Hops Dubwall would also be viable, but if he gets the boss, that would be it. Doesn't find it at this stage.
Wait, no, that's it. If there's a Poképad left in the deck, Petrol can grab a Poképad and grab the double, and Jose will be the champion.
He's going to have to check the deck now with that telepathic psychic energy. Just wants to check before he does anything crazy.
He knows how close he is. He does not want to mess this up. He's looking through it. Does he recognize that he has it? Here comes the Petrol. Does he have a Poképad left?
Petrol for the Ultra Ball will be looking to find that double. Discards 2 cards. And this effectively will be the gust for game as Jose Lopez with Hops Trevenant defies all odds, wins in Turin and books a ticket to San Francisco.
Defiant Horn for the game. Hops Trevenant, little tree that could. Taking down all the titans of the format, taking down the rogues of the format. And Jose, what a champion to end the season here in Turin.